So once again, folks, sorry, my name is Abby, and I have been teaching abroad for the past, I taught abroad for 3 years, and now I'm a full-time freelancer out here in the UAE. My full teaching experience has been 8 years. I've always been really interested in technology and how to integrate it. So today I want to present to you all a few different resources that you can use to start digitizing or duplicating yourself in your classroom in a way that is that you can start immediately. So these are some opportunities that you have to without a humongous learning curve that will help you and also your students. So these are digital practices for the classroom that you can start tomorrow. Once again, my name is Abby. You can find me on Instagram at Abby Teaching Afar or my website at Abby Teaching Afar. Okay, so the objective for today is going to be, we're going to go over planning and outlining your lessons. We're going to develop a short digital strategy. We're going to create digital resources, and then I have some more resources for me to share with you as well. For those of you who are listening, once again, I do have a presentation on YouTube. If you go to check out Abby Teaching Afar online, I am also doing this same broadcast simultaneously on YouTube if you want to see the slides or catch the replay later. All right, so let's get into it. So let's talk about planning and outlining. Okay, when it comes to planning, I know as teachers, sometimes that could be, a big whoop when it comes down to it. But this is one of the things, especially when it comes to building a digital strategy or even trying to create your lessons and find a way to manipulate it to use it online, that is going to be key. So you're going to want to brainstorm. Think about the big ideas and the concepts that your students will enjoy the most or find most challenging. So like I said, I was a physical education teacher. So I'm thinking about things that I have to do over and over again. And maybe it's a little bit, irritating to try to explain it, especially with physical education. It's very taxing on your body. So I was thinking about the units that I had going on and maybe the things that I didn't want to repeat myself or have to physically do over and over again. So those are the things that I'm talking about when it talks about big ideas and concepts that your students will enjoy or find most challenging. The next thing we want to do as we're picking all of those things out is highlight the information from the ideas and concepts that you feel you may have to redo multiple times. So like I said a little bit earlier, jumping jacks, push-ups. So if you are in the classroom, maybe it's certain formulas and things like you want to do to bring up for math, or just what a noun is, what a verb is, you're teaching English. You want to pull out those things that are repetitive and just make note of that. Okay. So the benefits of that is you become more familiar with the lesson and you're able to see the lesson from the student's perspective to figure out what is going to be most beneficial for them. You can also identify smaller skills or knowledges that can be reinforced. These are the things that you're going to have the opportunity to essentially duplicate yourself by creating resources that will help your students. So now we're going to develop kind of like a digital strategy when it comes down to it. Okay. So with this digital strategy, you're going to choose a digital medium. And what I mean by digital medium, you're going to decide if you're going to make this audio, right? If you're going to maybe do like a voiceover or something like that, if you're going to make it video, is it going to be written? Is it going to be a picture or an image? These are the things that we want to take it from its physical aspect. So if I have this folder right here and it's physical and I want to give this these notes or these notebooks to my students, what can I do with these things? I can turn it into something that's audio. I can turn it into something that has video. I can also create resources where it has the written text on there, or create images. Okay. So things that we can consider for that are voiceovers, right? Screen recordings, infographics, images and diagrams. Okay. And then you're going to pick the programs and platforms that you would like to use. So this is part of the plan. So it's like, if I say, great, I want to make a video and the place that I'm going to host it is going to be on YouTube. Okay. Or I'm going to create a voiceover and I'm going to put it on Google Classroom. All right. Or I'm going to make a worksheet and I'm going to put it on Seesaw or my website. And other resources that you can use are like Padlet or Flipgrid or Edpuzzle. These are all the digital resources and they can be hosted on these various platforms. But you want to make that part of your plan beforehand, so you're not making things that you can't use in certain areas, or you're creating it in the wrong way and you can't format it properly. Okay. So the benefits of developing a digital strategy is you're creating systems and routines for students to access material independently, right? And who doesn't want to create systems for your students to be able to know maybe what is coming up next. As teachers, students are always saying, what are we doing? What's coming next? What do we have to do today, right? And to be able to create a system, the students will begin to understand what goes next. Maybe you come into the classroom and they check their Google Classroom and they say, oh, here is this particular, audio for me, or here is this video that I need to do. Now I know exactly what I need to do next, instead of you repeating yourself 27 times. Okay. You can clone yourself and have the opportunity to target small groups for differentiated instruction. So imagine you have created a digital resource for your students and everybody is engaged. Maybe you have some high flyers to where they've already finished the material and they've done the worksheet that you have engaged, that you've given them, and now they're done. So if they're done, right, you can talk to these individuals and say, okay, well, here's what you can do next, right? Or if you have people who are struggling and you can see that, if you have the rest of the class engaged in what you've already pre-prepared, then you can pick out those outliers and give them the additional attention or understanding they need, but also pick up on areas where you can be clearer when you create these resources in the future. Okay, so maybe there is a point that your students are saying, I don't understand, or I don't get this part. You also are taking notes on yourself and your delivery when you create these resources, so that in the future you nail it for your students, so they can, interact with the material in the best way. Okay. All right. Next thing is, we're going to go over some of the options when it comes to how you can present this material. So I'm going to go over a few different ways that you can present it. So you have the option to record yourself, right? Now, I know everybody's not a big fan of being in front of the camera or anything like that, but we'll talk about a couple different things that you can do. So you have the opportunity to record yourself, right? So you can use your cell phone, you can use your iPad, you can use your tablet. All right. You can use apps within these phones. So you can use your camera app. There's apps called Clips or CapCut, or even social media apps where you can create your material from. You can use your computer. You can use your webcam. You can use Zoom. You can use Google Meet. These are all great ways to record yourself. Sit your laptop down, have some decent lighting, and be able to record whatever you have for your students right then and there. You can use a camera. Right now, if you're watching me on YouTube, I'm using my mirrorless camera. And there's point and shoots. There's like smaller cameras, right? Smaller cameras or medium cameras. If you're a camera person, like, you have those opportunity. And the types of angles. So these are for the individuals who maybe don't like being on camera. You have the opportunity to do a talking head. So for those of you watching me digitally right now, this is pretty much a talking head. I'm talking to you, right? And you can see me. Now there's also faceless. So if I had the opportunity, maybe I had a whiteboard and it's just pointing at the whiteboard, but you can hear my voice and only see my hand. Or you can do top down if you're doing demonstrations and you're showing maybe students how to draw or how to solve a math problem, and you just want them to have the top down version. These are ways that you can create these materials if you are uncomfortable being on camera, or if you are comfortable being on camera, it's some different ways that you can present the material for the students to interact with. Okay. You also have screen recording. So there's a few different things with screen recording. So you can screen record on QuickTime if you're an Apple user. I know there's Screencastify that might come with a cost, or maybe a logo or something like that if you use Screencastify, which is a web-based software that you can use to record your materials. Okay. You also have presentations that you can record on Canva, and there's also another website called Loom. So for those of you who don't know, on Canva, there's an opportunity for you to use your computer camera and use the presentation to record both yourself and the recording. So I'm just using a different software to do this here, but essentially those of you who see me on YouTube, Canva does the same thing. Now on your mobile, you can record your full screen on your iPhone and on your iPad by just recording the entire screen. If you want your voice recorded, you make sure that you turn your microphone on. And then also same thing, you can do the same thing with presentations for Zoom and Google Meet for your screen recording. So let's say, so let me go back just really quick when it comes to planning and outlining. So this is also very key. So when I plan and outline, typically when I taught my students, I created like a Google slide or some type of presentation that I can go with. So I had an idea of what I wanted to present to my students. And then if I needed to do a screen recording, there was a visual for them to see. All right. And so this, takes us right into creating digital resources, which is not that difficult because we interact with this material daily. Okay, so creating digital resources. So like I gave the analogy a little bit earlier when it comes to maybe a notebook or some type of system or practice or exit ticket that you give your students on a daily basis, right? How about you digitize that particular process so that you don't have to, one, waste paper, but then it's something that you can just duplicate over and over and over again without having the stress of, once needing to go to the copy room, right? Maybe, wanted to make things a little bit more touchless, but you can digitize those same resources in things like Canva or Creative Cloud. This used to be like Spark Post or something like that with the Adobe Suite, if you have access to it. So the Adobe Suite for teachers is sometimes some school systems will let you access it for free, or if you're a teacher and you have to pay for it, we get like a discount. There's also Google Suite, so you can create resources in Google Slides, Google Sheets, the Google Docs. These are all things that you can create those resources for the students and yourself to use over and over. You just have to tweak a couple things here and there. Microsoft Suite, there's Apple, there's Keynote, and things of that nature. And then also pictures. So let's say you have an anchor chart and you use it over and over again. You can just take a picture of it and then you can put your digital check marks and things of that like that on it. So you don't want to stress. You can use what you're most comfortable with and learn over time. So I'm not saying that you have to go and learn Canva tonight, or you have to go and learn how to reuse PowerPoint. You can start off slow. You can start off by literally taking pictures of things that are already done in your classroom. Maybe over the summer or over your next break, you find a way to make it digital instead of physical, because a lot of things are just moving to more digital platforms and less all over the place, and things that you have to hand out, put in book bags and take home, right? Okay, so I'm not sure how many people I have here, but if there were any questions, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have, or I can just share a couple more experiences that I've had with streamlining my digital systems in my classroom.
Hey Abby, this is Cedric. I know we didn't really have, and again, for context, because I know you're broadcasting everywhere, right? Extremely tech savvy. So first and foremost, thank you for sharing all this information, because luckily the replays in terms of Clubhouse are on, as well as all the access to the other platforms, YouTube, Instagram. You can definitely go back and get the information. But we did have a couple of things in the chat, not questions, but just pieces that I think we have Devon who added. He said that a great tool for the talking head screen and that recording is eglass.io. I've never heard of that, so Nice. Thank you for sharing that. And then also he mentioned for Adobe for educators, he actually pays $20 a month. So you have that. And then Angela just dropped into the chat that Canva is free for educators.
Yes, I believe Canva is free if you have your email with the EDU and things of that nature. Your school has registered with their platform, and it is a great program, especially for people who are new or even people who are seasoned with things. I see Devon also talking about Nearpod. Nearpod is something that I was definitely checking out. So these are all great resources, but what I want to definitely encourage and just make known is that these are not things that can be learned overnight. They're very rich programs. And so I would advise that, you take it one at a time, or if you are tech savvy, that you maybe take on at least max one or two, because there's so many different things to learn and to use. And I know that in my time in the classroom, I think I just tried to use too many things. The biggest things for me, honestly, were Google Slides, and also creating GIFs or GIFs or however people say it. Like I said, being a physical education teacher, creating those resources to where I can duplicate myself was extremely helpful, especially when it came to giving examples to students, so that I didn't have to repeat myself over and over again, or I wasn't like just being extremely tired from having to demonstrate so many things. So thank you so much for the input from the chat. I have the time if anybody was interested, or I'm not sure if they're online or not, but I can still do it, and you can access the replays. But to do some live demonstrations of a couple different things. Also, like I'll drop my information for us to connect, but I have the time and the opportunity to run through maybe some of the apps like Clips, CapCut, or Instagram, or Canva, or we can just discuss some ideas that people can use into the classroom that maybe they want to start using immediately. Does anybody have or would like to speak on some things that have been working in their classroom, and we can kind of discuss that?
Yeah, and just for context, everybody who is in here in the clubhouse room, the hand raising is on, I believe, should be. So feel free to raise your hand if you want to come up and share anything or ask a question. Please use this time because, this is a wealth of knowledge, and I'm learning just by sitting here, and I'm actually like, quote unquote, at work in front of my computer.
I said, and it's 9:23 here, so 9:23 p.m. And so I got time since it's not daytime.
I'm not. Oh, let's see. Something came through the chat.
Okay.
Oh, Devon said he can come up, but he has a lot of construction going on. I understand that. I literally just moved into a new house, and I'm surprised you all haven't heard construction outside of my house.
We're all good with construction. Come on up.
Feel free. Yeah, definitely. Also, too, what I think I want to do, Abby, is make sure that for the sake of the replays here on Clubhouse, that we go ahead and add your socials links at the top, so that people can also go there if they want to get the visual aspect of your presentation too.
Okay, do I put that in the pinned link, or where do I put that?
Yeah, pinned link. I can do it if we want to kick it over to Devon and maybe.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Have a discourse. All right, I got you. What's up, Devon? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on? Thank you guys for hosting the space. I've been really trying to dig into EdTech over the last month or so. I went to the EDU conference up in Palm Springs and got exposed to some pretty cool stuff. So just wanted to come up and chat with you guys about maybe what you guys are doing, and then maybe share a little bit of what I'm doing with it.
Awesome.
So the e-glass that I posted in the chat, I actually saw a demonstration of it at the conference. So what it is, it's a transparent, I would call it like plastic or plexiglass or something. On the other side of the plexiglass is where you would set your computer. There's also a camera there that shoots up to 1080. So essentially, for being a talking head like you were talking about in this tool works really well for blended learning, in-person learning, and distance learning. Essentially, you can, for in-person learning with classroom management, if you turn your back to write on your whiteboard, students might mess with each other or be doing things that they're not supposed to do and things like that. With the e-glass, you don't have to turn away from your students because you're writing onto that piece of plexiglass in front of you.
Oh, nice.
And it's taking that image, it flips it for you, and then puts it up onto a projector or a TV as well. There's a lot of things that you can do. You can drag live images into it. You can drag GIFs into it. You can write on the GIFs. You can write on the images. Kind of like if you guys watch football or basketball, like if you watch like between highlight plays when like the sportscaster will break down the play and like kind of write on the screen, and you can see the lines that they make and things like that. It's very similar to that. And then as far as Nearpod, I heard you say that you're really looking into it. I love Nearpod. I've been using it only for about a month now, but some of the features that it has are just really amazing for formative assessments. You can really gauge which students are participating and which students are not. I'll go over just 3 of my favorite features from Nearpod. And then with it, it's really easy. It integrates right in with Google Slides. So there's actually an add-on when you're in Google Slides and you just click on Nearpod. But you can insert polls in between slides. One of my favorite things is it's like a discussion board, and it really has like a social media format. So I usually will set it up as a cork board, and I'll have the students give their responses they can post with audio. I'm a special education teacher, and a lot of my students have speech to text as accommodations. So for those students, it works really well because they can put a voice recording up, and other students can go back and play it. The other students can then comment on each individual post that a student makes. So it really drives the engagement there. And I actually did a thing where we wrote a persuasive essay. We outlined it together, all of the arguments for and against and things like that, just using that tool. And then another tool that I really enjoy is there's a drag and drop feature. So I can insert a table, as many by as many as I want, and have the students click and drag in images that represent those things. So it's really great for pictorial inputs. There's a ton more features, but those are just three of my favorite ones that I wanted to talk about.
I'm about to say, yeah, Nearpod I feel like is definitely a game changer. If you put in the time to at least understand a couple of features, it can definitely revolutionize your classroom. I unfortunately didn't have all the time to utilize those resources during my time in the classroom, but definitely if I were to ever go back, that's something that is on top of my list.
Absolutely a game changer.
Do we have any other resources that people use and like? You can add it in the chat, or you can raise your hand and you can share it with us here. What else did I really like in my classroom? You know what? I liked Seesaw. Seesaw sometimes their platform doesn't get the attention that it deserves at time. It can be, there's a few things that I would love for them to update, like, being able to post multiple assignments to multiple classes, but it was a great way for me to be able to track my students' understanding and creating those small digital resources, be it a voice note for my student or a video instructing them on what they need to do. Definitely during the height of COVID, I was able to give reviews on how the lesson should be filled out, and that was very helpful, so I didn't get just random assignments or having to send things back over and over. Being able to kind of review it with the students and they can watch it in their own time was very helpful, because I had younger students, elementary students, so Google Classroom wasn't really, it was out of their league. So Seesaw was definitely a great medium for me to be able to capture all of their work and their videos. But yeah, I'd love to hear any other suggestions or tools or resources that people like to use in their classrooms.
Abby, are you familiar with Adobe Spark by any chance?
Yes, I'm familiar with Adobe Spark. They actually changed the name from Adobe Spark to the Creative Cloud Express. So I know there's a mobile version and a online version, and that is pretty much the Adobe version of Canva.
Okay, cool. I'm not familiar with Canva, but I really did enjoy using Spark with my students in the beginning of the year before I upgraded to the Adobe Suite for educators. Mm-hmm. I think it did a really good job of condensing some of the other programs. So it has like some of the functionalities from, say, like Illustrator, some of the functionalities from Photoshop, and maybe like a couple from Premiere. But my students really enjoyed being able to format their things. Like I would make them create scrapbooks and things like that of what we were learning about. Another thing was I would make them do social media posts. So you know how you can export whatever you create, and I guess you said that the name has changed now, but you can export it in like a format to be a Twitter header, mm-hmm. or an Instagram post or a Facebook post. But my students really enjoyed that. So I think figuring out the ways that we can connect it to social media, it really is aligned with the Universal Design for Learning in terms of engagement, because we know that our kids are hooked onto that computer screen.
And that brings up another good point, to where that's one of the reasons why one of the suggested resources I had were social media outlets. So utilizing TikTok and Instagram, even if you're not posting it on your platform, you're utilizing the editing or the filters or the music that you can get on there that are trending with the times to capture your students' attention. So sometimes they just literally need to be entertained in order to be educated, which can be frustrating at times because there's a lot to learn. But picking up with the trends or learning something or trying to teach something with a little dance or something can go a long way with the students, especially like think of all the things that we've been exposed to so much, and we understand or memorize some meaningless things just because of pure exposure and entertainment. And so fiddle around with some of those things. They're not as difficult as they seem, especially since with social media, things are less polished. So one of the things I want to make sure that everybody understands is that you don't have to be perfect in all of this stuff. The raw stuff your students would probably enjoy more than the things that you present to them in a more quote unquote professional manner. They like to see us mess up. They like to see us being human. So the stuff that I would, create for my students, if I was teaching jump rope, I'd let myself mess up on the jump rope. It was fine. Or if I fell or if I dropped something, that human aspect of this digital content is still needed. So that's one of the reasons why I wasn't focusing on editing for this particular conversation, because I'd rather us become familiar with creating the material imperfectly than trying to create it perfectly and never releasing it or never having it for your actual students. So one of the things I wanted to mention, if anybody else has any questions, feel free. But one of the things that I want to create moving forward, and that I am in the process of creating, is a content creation course for educators, creating different materials that people can use in order to track that particular process. So if you are interested in creating more things and you need to learn a little bit more about editing softwares or lighting or audio, being able to do that from the perspective of an educator so that you can get the best quality out of it and also your students can get the best understanding. So if anybody has any questions or tips or things that they feel they need more information on, I love that insight so that it can be added. But once again, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. If you have any other questions, you can feel free to put it in the chat or raise that hand and speak to us. But thank you for your time as well. Awesome. So I got, like I said earlier, it's going pretty well. So like I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, and I'm speaking to you all live. And after we fix the technical glitches, that's another thing that you have to have patience when it comes to these things digitally, because it can mess up. But once you get the flow of things and you and your students build your routine, it's going to be a massive help in the way that you give your instructions to your students and also help yourself. So if you all, I'm going to go ahead and give some live demonstrations on YouTube. Once again, the link is at the top, but I'm going to go through a couple of different things that you can do with clips in Canva. You all can check out the replay if you want to on YouTube, or hop on with me now. Folks on Instagram, I'll just do a couple things that you can do, and then we'll call it a day. I think let me see, I think I got a question. Thanks for highlighting. My pleasure, Jason. My pleasure. So yeah, if you all want to hop on YouTube to see me go through a couple of different apps that you can use, you are welcome. If you want to stay on and listen to me talking about the apps, you're also welcome to do that. There's probably a little bit of a delay on YouTube, so just a heads up on that it won't be on real time. And let me plug this in. I want to thank Cedric as well for the opportunity to be on this conference and speak with you all. I don't know. Yeah, I told you all that I'm not necessarily in the classroom at the moment, but it has been a great way for me to brush up my skills on what to present, and also give the information I had to the people who are still there serving our students, and we thank you. What up, Mo? Okay, so let me get this for you. Another reason why I say I love QuickTime, because QuickTime will allow you to show your phone on your screen as well. Okay, so I am now on YouTube and I have my phone here, so I'm going to go through we're going to go through clips. I've been promoting clips a little bit more than anything these days because I feel like if you're an iPhone user and an educator, you're missing out if you're not using it. So with the Clips app, so let me show y'all what it looks like again. But the Clips app, which is this little camera, blue camera app right here, you can click on it, and some of the biggest updates that they've done here. I also have a full tutorial on it, but we'll go through it briefly. The biggest problem with Clips beforehand was the fact that you couldn't change the aspect ratio. So it was only in a square, but now they have a 16:9, a 4:3, and a square. And so if you want this is the portrait 16:9, but if you just turn it sideways and press your record button, you can get that in a horizontal manner. It's the resources that allow you to do many different things here that are great. So you have filters, you have live titles. If you have an iPhone 10 or higher, you have the opportunity to use memojis to make things a little bit more interesting, especially if you're younger kids. You can do some text to it. You can add stickers. You can also add scenes if you have a more updated iPhone as well, that can give you more of a artificial intelligence or a AR type vibe on it. Okay, and you have a number of different posters and things that you can make as well. So I would just encourage you all to definitely go in and play around with it. One of the great things about it is it's very similar to social media platforms, to where you can just literally press and record and stop, and it creates video by video, so that you don't have to try to do things all in one take. You can literally say what you have to say, take a breath, stop recording, and do it. So this app allows you to not have to edit as much as you would if you were doing things straight and you want to chop things up. So if you have what you want to write or to say on here, you can just do it piece by piece, and then that'd be done. This is a great, I know for you, Devon, as well, this might be a great app for you to navigate through with your students and make presentations that they can use if they are allowed to use their phone. If there's an iPad, this is a great way for them to be able to express themselves through another app. So that's a really brief introduction on Clips, but I have a full tutorial on my YouTube channel as well that you all can utilize. The next one is CapCut, and CapCut is just an app that you can essentially edit with. So also iMovie just created an update, which is great, but there is still lacking in some areas. But CapCut is a free resource that you can use to create more media. So you can put in multiple different things, add it, you can edit it, you can put in text, you can put in captions. There's so many opportunities. You can use videos, you can use pictures, you can make the pictures move. But this is just a great way to make content more interesting for yourself and also for your students. So CapCut is another resource that I would use. It has many different effects, as you can see, many different opportunities for you to make your content more engaging. And I think that's one of the benefits of creating digital content, because you can have another touch point for your students, especially outside of the classroom or when they're not with you. They can engage with it at home. They can engage with it, if you start a YouTube channel or something like that. I've had parents tell me, like, my student loves this video that you made, and I made this one thing where you can make some like granola bars, and be like, my son watches that video like every day, or he makes me make those granola bars every week, or something like that. But these are various touch points that you can utilize to expose your students to material that they want over and over again. Can clips be transferred to video? Can the clips be transferred to video editing software for further editing? Yes. So if you're talking about on Clips or on CapCut, you can just export the video and then transfer it to iMovie or Final Cut Pro. Yeah, sometimes I can do the same thing if there's a feature. So let me see if I can find it. There's a feature in CapCut to where it will take your still images and give it like a 3D effect. I have taken that 3D effect, exported it, and then put it in a video that I was editing in a different software. So yes, you can export the footage and material that you use and put it into another editing software. And then everybody is or may be familiar with Instagram. Like I was mentioning earlier, Instagram has a lot of different features that you can utilize to make videos for your students. And they're great features that are, current with the times. The students can relate to it a little bit more, and that's great. And then there's also Canva. I know, Devon, you were mentioning earlier that you're unfamiliar with Canva. Canva is another one of those game-changing apps that you can use, and it can do video. It can do, make presentations. You can make a number of different things on it, and it's a great resource to be able to use. And they also have a mobile version, and they have the website online. So I would encourage you to check that out, because they have a lot of different templates that you can just literally plug and play your various different ideas and resources, and do it in a seamless way. So it's great. But once again, I want to thank you all for your time and listening to me today. My name is Abby. Once again, you can find me on many or all platforms at Abby Teaching Afar. That's Abby, A-B-B-Y, Teaching Afar, A-F-A-R. This presentation can be found. Oh, thank you. This presentation can be found online. I might edit it a little bit more, or maybe I just might leave it the way it is. But it is there for you all to go and review. If you have any questions, please feel free to DM me. I'll be happy to create additional resources to bridge the gap while you all are there. That's one of the things I definitely want to take advantage of, is while I am outside of a traditional classroom, I want to make sure that I'm helping the people who are still there, because education is definitely key. So anything that I can create or reference or create a resource or tutorial for you all while you are inside of the classroom, I'd be happy to. So do not be don't be shy on that. Once again, thank you for joining, and I look forward to hearing more of the wonderful things that we do. And also, for those of you who are listening, once I get this course created, I'm definitely going to have a special promo code for our EDU Hustle group. So, all right, so look out for that, and I hope to be able to allow you to take advantage of that, and so we can continue to work and support one another. All right, thank you, Jason. Thank you, everybody who joined out today. I can't find the... okay, so I apologize. So if you are looking to use clips, you will have to be an Apple user, an iPhone user. So my apologies on that. If you are not an iPhone user, clips will not be available to you, but CapCut will. And let me see if I can think of any other apps. But yeah, so pretty much CapCut, or there's another one that I use that's called Videorama. Those are a couple of different other editing apps on the phone that have been nice for me to use. All right, so if I'll stick around for a second if there's any other questions. Other than that, thank you all so much. Thank you for the opportunity, Cedric. I look forward to engaging more with the group, and just continuing to support everybody and what we got going on.